It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
Hi, my name is Lishay Cardelsa. I am from South Africa, Western Cape, in Cape Town. I'm 23 years of age and I work for Street Talk as an editor and a researcher.
Hi, I'm Audrey Bulin. I'm from Réunion Island in France. I'm 20 years old and I'm a student in the University of Montpellier in France.
My name is Wambui Gade from Nairobi, Kenya. I am a filmmaker, I'm a film curator, I'm a photographer, I'm an events organizer. I'm basically wearing so many hats. But I'm so happy to be here.
My name is Nadi and I'm from Madagascar in the capital. And I'm graduate from the University of Antananarivo. I studied business law.
I'm Millie Gillard. I'm from the UK. I'm from a place near Portsmouth, so the very, very south of the UK. I've just finished my degree from the University of Bristol. I studied zoology, and I want to go into wildlife filmmaking, hopefully in the future. But for now, I'm in between things. But yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so I'll start off the conversation by asking people now. Nelly, how has COVID affected your life where you are?
So when COVID started here, I had a proposition for an internship, which was supposed to last like 3 months. And due to COVID, it lasted more than 4 months, like 5 months, for the 3 months, by counting the days. So I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted things to be done differently, and it was not like I wanted it, and it made me feel a little bit stressed, disappointed. But I had some network on the internet where I could meet some new people from different countries. So for so many reasons, there were good things and bad things at the same time for me.
I'm from Réunion Island, but I do my study in France, so it's 10,000 kilometers away from where I live, and it was my first year living alone in a country that I didn't know. So I spent 2 months, but then then the COVID came, so I had to go back to my country because I felt alone in France. I didn't have anything to do, so I decided to return to my country, and so I didn't do anything.
It's affected my life in definitely a softer way, but it's definitely made me more unsure of what I want to do next, and where I think without it, I think I would have perhaps be studying for a master's in September, whereas I've decided to not having spent most of university just studying from my room. I decided that I couldn't study from my room any longer because it was so uninspiring. But I think I definitely would have made some different decisions, but yeah, I think the future would be less uncertain, I guess.
I think mine has been like a mix of both, something similar to what there's someone who mentioned, is it Audrey, who mentioned about, no, was it Millie or Audrey? Anyway, so at some point I did my degree in theatre arts and film, and this year was when I was really aiming at doing my master's actually in the UK. But COVID happened, so I've had to put that on the side. But when it comes to also traveling, because I'm always a person of sceneries and whatnot and traveling, I think that's really come down because of the restrictions on lockdown and whatnot. So in Kenya, we were not able to move within different counties at a particular point, especially when things were really thick. But now at least the country has really opened up, so we're hoping that things will change. But yeah, in the travel part of things, I think I really miss that a lot. But other than that, I think on a personal level, with when it comes to work, I've been fortunate enough to have so many opportunities coming at me, despite the COVID pandemic, especially with when it comes to online stuff like workshops, and just basically so many opportunities have come about as a result of that. Like last year, I directed a short film with the Ladima Foundation for the Ladima Foundation competition. And then I also did produce another short film last year. So I think COVID actually pushed me to do that, because I think if the country was open, if things were just normal, I think I would have just been slacking. So I think it's been both a good and a bad thing for me, generally.
I think for me, I was really lucky that all of my family and friends were fine, and a couple of them have had it, but luckily everyone's been fine. But I think quite early in the pandemic, it was one of those moments where you realize how lucky you are. As I was buying food for a couple. They were quite a young couple. I think they were in their 30s, but they both had HIV, and so they were particularly vulnerable to COVID. So they weren't leaving their house. So I was buying food for them, and sadly, she also had quite a few mental health issues, and she had to go into hospital because I think she had eating disorders, and she had to go into hospital where she caught it, and sadly, she passed away. And that was one of those very close to home kind of, that, because otherwise you can kind of detach yourself from the kind of harrowing part of it when no one close to you has suffered that extremely. But that was quite a close to home moment.
It's just tragic to see how the people around struggles, because when you are living in a poor country, many people don't really, at the starting of this pandemic, people were not understanding what's going on really, and they took the disease very lightly, I'd say, and unfortunately it conducted to many deaths, and that was tragic, because you fear everything around you, and everybody's questioning about what's going on without really understanding, and at the end it just has a really tragic results on people's health, and people around you are losing their families, and that was pretty tragic for me to see, to feel, and to live every day.
I live in Montpellier, in France, and there is this huge place where it's called La Place de la Comédie. Well, when I first came, there was a lot of restaurants, a lot of people, and then when COVID came, well, there was nothing. The place was empty, and I think, well, it's not a tragedy, but it's weird to see something like that.
There's some places where people just are very ignorant. They still don't believe that, especially when you go to the countryside, they still don't believe that there's COVID in the world. I think it's because it's not close to them that much, or it hasn't affected anyone close to them. So it actually just depends. I think people just right now are just very tired of wearing masks, sanitizing, just living a new norm that they're not used to. It's really exhausting. Personally, I also get tired of wearing masks. So luckily I work from home most of the time. So it's good. It's all good. But I really miss everything being back to normal, you know.
When it first started, they were afraid to be fined by the police. That's why they had a mask on them. But like, they have a mask in their pocket, they're walking, and when there's a police nearby, they put it on their face, and that's most likely why they are having a mask. But for the fear of this virus, they were not worried about it.
1 month ago, I was in France. I just came back home 2 weeks ago. But when I was in France 1 month ago, the president said that the mask wasn't necessary outdoors. So people started to not wear masks because it wasn't, I don't know how to say, but he abolished it. But then yesterday he spoke, and well, there is a new type of virus of COVID. It's called Delta, and so the cases started to be higher. And now he installed a sanitary pass, so people have to get a vaccine, the 2 doses, or they have to present a PCR test. But the test is now it's not free anymore. So people are mad because it's kind of like he forced people to get a vaccine. Well, so since yesterday, I see a lot of people getting mad over this new law, because if you're not vaccinated, or if you don't have a PCR test, which is not free anymore, you can't go to the cinema, the restaurants. You can't do anything without that. So people who would not want to get a vaccine could not do anything of that.
I haven't gotten the vaccination yet. There's been a whole round that has been coming. Of course, there was that priority where frontliners had to get it, and then people in the education sector, and then there's a whole hierarchy. But now finally it's open to pretty much everybody. But I'm still very skeptical, honestly speaking. I know there right now, I think there's AstraZeneca that's available, but then I've heard that it has issues, that it wasn't approved. So, there's all sorts of there are all sorts of theories that are coming about. So I think I'm just going to take a chill pill first, just observe and then see. But I'm really considering that now that the country is opening up. I mean, I'm finding myself in more and more social spaces. So I do need to have a vaccine in my body. So I think I might just get it very soon.
Because the UK, the vaccination program has been really successful. I've had my first jab now, and they did it in age brackets. So I was one of the last, and I think everyone over 18 now, I think most people over 18 have had at least one dose, which is good. And by the way, April, I didn't have any side effects or anything. I was completely fine. My arm hurt slightly, but I was fine. So I wouldn't be worried. But I think since the vaccines have been so successful, everyone's kind of been like, oh, well, now we're fine. So I don't need or at least I think particularly older people, now they're thinking, oh, okay, I'm fine now because I'm double dosed. I'll be fine. So I don't need to wear a mask. But really the mask is also to protect other people who haven't had a vaccine. So it's kind of the selfishness is kind of showing, but we've had some, we were in the finals of the Euros the other night, and we were watching it on the telly, and the whole of Wembley Stadium was full of people not wearing masks, and which is kind of that, thousands of people, which I think is a bit, I don't know whether it's suddenly that everyone's become a bit blasé that because the vaccines have been so successful, but I think we'll find out. Our cases are still rising massively, but we'll find out in a month or so what the impact of that will be.
I got my first dose this week.
Oh, that's good. That's cool. Okay, my dream is for COVID to come to an end.
My dream would be for COVID to come to an end and also stay at an end.
My dream would be for the world to be safe again. So that no other, let's say if COVID ends, there's no other pandemic that's coming. You get it's done.
My dream is for everyone to be healthy and everything to go back to normal. And I want to travel everywhere around the world.
I want to be done with this, so that we can go party again, travel again.
Yeah, Z, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.